Hi, I wanted to take the opportunity to help explain the testing situation for your CNA state exam. Wanted to explain the two different options you have available to you. Currently, we work with Regional Testing Center and Headmaster for our CNA students testing options. And so this PowerPoint is going to help explain the differences between both and how to register for each one. So I'm going to start with the first company that we use for our CNA's testing students. The Regional Testing Center, also known as Credential, is a testing organization that is within different cities of Southern California. So if distance is an option, is a concern for you, you will have different locations available to you. So you could choose from. There's several options in Orange County, LA County, even in San Diego and San Bernardino counties. So the actual day of the exam, when you go for your written exam, you have 2 hours to complete 70 questions. When you do the regional testing center, when you register with them, you have to mail in your test registration form with a money order. And the price of the exam is $120. So on the day of the exam, you take your written exam for 2 hours. And then once you're finished with your written exam, you'll step into the next room and complete your skills exam. You have 30 minutes to complete 5 skills. On the day of the exam, they ask that you bring a pencil because, again, this is a written exam, and so you'll be using a Scantron form, and you have 70 questions on your written exam. Once you're complete with your written exam, the exam answers are faxed over for grading, and you'll get your results within 5 to 7 business days. Actually, on the day of the exam, you are asked to bring a self-addressed envelope with you to the exam so they can mail off your test results. Like I said, you have different locations available to you in Southern California, and I'll show you how to choose a location as we keep going through this presentation. Also, on the day of the exam, please keep all your personal items in your car. You're not allowed to bring your cell phone in. We just ask that you bring the CDPH 283B form, a pencil, 2 forms of identification, and the envelope with your address on it. When you arrive, you will be asked to put your thumbprint or your fingerprint on the CDPH form. So with the Credential or Regional Testing Center style, you'll be doing 5 randomized skills. Hand washing will always be tested, so you can definitely guarantee hand washing will be tested, and you'll get 4 additional randomized skills. One thing to note is when you're completed with the skill, you're not allowed to go back and change your steps. So once you say skills complete, or once you move on to the next skill, you're not allowed to change your or reflect and change your answers or update your answers. So I suggest, and a lot of us, as far as instructors, we suggest that you verbalize your steps as you're doing the skill to make sure that the grader or the test observer can make sure that they give you all of the points that you deserve. But you cannot just say the step and not do it. You have to still do the step, but I'm also saying, I'm recommending that you verbalize the step to make sure that they are aware of each step that you're doing. One good study technique is to actually create flashcards to help memorize each step of the skill while you're practicing at home. When you go for skills, you will be performing your skills on a live person, and usually it's going to be one of the students that are also testing with you. So one student will be the CNA and the other student will be the patient, and then you'll switch roles. So it could potentially be one of your classmates or someone else that is there to take the written exam and skills exam. For Headmaster, it's slightly different. You have more digital options. You have 60 minutes for the knowledge test, and you have 75 questions. You can do the knowledge test at home on a computer or at this testing center on the computer, so you do have that option. If you would like to do it at home on your own computer, you just have to register for the virtual option, and you'll be doing your test on 2 different days. One day will be for the knowledge test, and the next day will be for the skills. But you do have the luxury of doing it at home on Zoom with the test observer watching you. You will have to have a laptop with your camera on, and then you also have to log in on Zoom where your phone can be angled to a direction where we can see your hands to prevent you, to make sure that you're not cheating or you don't have testing materials in front of you. For the skills exam, it is 30 minutes for testing. The test is $130 for the written and skills. So it's maybe a $10 difference between the Credential and Headmaster. Your results are available within 24 hours as long as it is on a business day. So for example, if you test on a Tuesday, you'll have your results on Wednesday. But if you test on a Friday, you will most likely get your results on a Monday. It has to be on the business day. Test results are not processed on Saturdays or Sundays. Currently, we have testing sites available in San Bernardino County. When you go for registration, or when you're eligible for registration, your registration will be emailed to you as a link. So your instructor will pre-register you and you'll get a link to complete the registration and payment. So you don't have to mail anything in to register for the Headmaster test, all electronic. The pre-registration is completed by your instructor, and then it is emailed to you to finish the additional information. It's going to ask you for your address and additional demographics to complete the registration. On the day of the test, we ask that you bring your 283B form and a form of identification, like your driver's license or state ID. And when you arrive, depending if you take the written test at home or if you take it at the testing center, the skills test will be scheduled right after. Again, you have 30 minutes to complete that test. One thing about the skills test for Headmaster is that there are some differences in the steps compared to Credential and Headmaster, meaning that when you go through some steps, like for the bedpan, for each company has a different version of the bedpan, and each company, for instance, has a different version of passive range of motion. So those are just some small things that I noticed. You'll see it as you go through and start memorizing the steps. Both ways of doing the steps are correct, but there's just some different variances that I would like to bring to your attention as you're practicing at home. Hand washing is included in the Headmaster exam. It is not a separate step, it is actually included in each step. If you finish before 30 minutes, you can stop to reflect before you leave the building to correct what you may think you got wrong. So for instance, if you finish within 15 to 20 minutes, you can use that remaining balance, which is maybe like 10 minutes, to just make sure that you did all of your steps. If there's something that you think you forgot, you can let the tester know, and they will say, show me, and you would show them the steps that you forgot, and then you'll be able to still receive credit. But if you leave the building, you cannot come back and fix your steps. You have to stay in the room and just make sure that you're within your 30-minute time frame, and you will have the ability to just review. You cannot review in the book, you just have the ability to just think about what you may have missed, and then you can fix it. Now, Headmaster, you don't have to worry about using one of your classmates or someone that you are testing with for the knowledge exam, because they will have the same actor for each CNA candidate. So it'll be the same actor for everyone instead of using each other for the skills exam. So here is the Regional Testing Center website. This is where you can come to get information on the Regional Testing Center organization. Here is our address here that you will need to mail your registration to. And here's our hours of operation. If you have any questions about if your registration has been received, here's the phone number and email. I do recommend that if you do not receive a confirmation and we're getting close to your test date, please email or call them. There have been some instances where they have your email address spelled incorrectly. So just double check with the testing center if you don't receive a confirmation. So if you want to look at exam dates, you just come to and click on exam dates and then scroll down and you'll see the different cities that you have available. So as you just scroll through, you can see what's close to your address and then you'll be able to pick a location. Just be mindful to write down the test site and the date when you choose your testing center location. Now, if you would like to start preparing at home, you have access to the test registration form by clicking on that form. And then also when you want to click prepare for the exam, you can also click on the CNA candidate handbook for the regional testing center is available to you. And it has all of the locations that are available. And as you scroll through, on page 23 is where the skills start. So let me scroll there. And that is where you can study all of the skills for the regional testing center locations. Again, please be aware that there are some differences in some of the steps, meaning like you may just have to do something slightly different compared to each company. So I want to just bring that to your attention. Here you go. And so on page 23 of the student candidate handbook is where it starts with skill 1 for hand hygiene, and it goes through 23 different skills. If you see a step that is in bold, that means you have to do that skill. If you miss that skill, you will automatically fail. So please make sure you study at home and do the steps in order, especially the steps that are in bold. Now, when you get to your vital signs or intake and output and you have to do some recording, this is what the recording sheet looks like for the regional testing center exam. It is slightly different from the headmaster exam, so I want to show you the difference of what it would look like when you have to write your results for any of these possible skills, and then your evaluator will also write there as well. So for the headmaster exam, you have to come to the main website, which is hdmaster.com, and you click on California. This company is actually available in 30 other states, and so it is new to California. So I want to show you how to get to all of your testing information. So if you want to look at the candidate handbook, which has the skills listed, you click right here and it'll download straight to your computer. And then you'll be able to see all of the skills that are listed. Again, if you see anything that is in bold, that means you have to do it or you could automatically fail. One nice thing about the handbook is that it's all digital, so you can look at it on your phone. It goes over the exam structure. It goes over what you need to bring on the day of the exam. Also on this website is where you can register for your exam. So you can look at your registration information. You can look at what time your exam is. And then you can also look at if you need to reschedule, things like that is all listed on the digital registration option. Like I said, as an instructor, I am an instructor, so I have the ability to pre-register students. And then once you receive that link, you will be able to complete your registration to register for the skills exam and for the knowledge exam. So in summary, I highly recommend it that you practice, practice, practice. Use the candidate handbook of the testing company you are scheduled to test with, and don't wait till the last minute to start studying. You'd be surprised, but some students are just, the day of testing is very nerve-wracking, and you don't want your nerves to interfere with your thought process. So I would highly recommend that you test yourself at home, grab a family member, practice with the equipment, and verbalize the steps, memorize the steps, use flashcards, because honestly, the muscle memory will help you on the day of the exam. because you'll be so used to going through the motions that your nerves, you can defeat your nerves. Again, my name is Sade Stevenson. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to email me.